everybody, Spegtacular, the Silver Stacular. In this back to basics video about junk silver, I think this is the best silver you can possibly stack. You can make an entire collection, a stack just of junk silver, and you would be doing just fine. When I talk about junk silver in this video, I'm going to be discussing every little bit of it. I'm going to talk about the buying, the selling, how to discover it, how to find it, how to identify it, all of it in this video. For the purpose of this video, when I talk about junk silver, I'm mainly talking about your pre-1965 dimes, your pre-1965 quarters, pre-1965 half dollars. Now there are some other coins that you're going to find out there while you're searching for this. I'll discuss those a little bit in this video too. For instance, your wartime nickels, some people do consider this junk silver. That's fine, whatever you want to call it. It's easy to identify. It's only available for a few years. They are a 35% silver alloy. And these right here, if I can go ahead and focus on them, they were only available from 1942 to 1945, and they have the large mint mark just above the Monticello building. So you can see that large D just on above the roof of the Monticello building. And Denver, San Francisco, and actually Philadelphia, you see the mint mark P, which is unusual for coinage to see the P mint mark. But yes, on the wartime nickels, you still saw them. Some people do consider those. I try to stay away from that stuff. Personally, I focus on the 90% silver coinage, the 90% junk silver. And junk silver is just a name. Doesn't mean these coins are junky in the least. It is just a term that is used for them. Some people feel more comfortable using terms like constitutional silver because it was written in the Constitution that this would be the coinage that we use in the States. However, we have gotten away from that. People also call it pre-1965, or they just call it 90% silver. It really doesn't matter what you call it. This stuff will never be offended. It's never going to get mad at you no matter what you call it, believe it or not. Some people also, they will consider the things like this right here, your 40% silver half dollars as junk silver. That's fine if you want to loop that into 90% as well. Personally, for this video, I'm just going to try to stay away from the 40% stuff. And this stuff, though, is 40% silver, so it still does have some silver value to it. And these right here, these Kennedy half dollars that have the 40% silver alloy, they would have been available from 1965 to 1970. So just so you know there, whereas the 1964 would have been the year for the Kennedy 90% silver. So back to more of junk silver personally in that piece right there. So first of all, how do you know what you're buying? I would highly recommend that if you are completely confused by this stuff right here, this United States junk silver, you want to go ahead and get one of these, a red book of coins. This is a 2013 version. Obviously, this is later than when you're watching this video. It doesn't matter if you get the 2013 version because this stuff, again, is pre-1965. So this stuff is going to be available in this book. You can still find the information on these coins. And what you're getting this book for, and I'm going to discuss it more in a little bit later in this video, is that you might find some rarities among your junk silver search. So it's good to know what you're looking at and check the dates of your coins. And that's part of the fun of buying junk silver. Also, some people might consider like kind of non-numismatic or cull 90% dollar coins as junk silver. For the sake of this video, we're going to stay away from that. Cull, C-U-L-L, meaning damaged coins. A lot of times your junk silver will end up being cull too. All of this will be in the same area together. You'll find coins that are damaged, cleaned, bent. You find coins that are actually in really good condition. You might find all of those coins just lumped together in piles of junk silver when you're out there searching for this stuff. So it's nice to know what you look for. It's really, really wonderful when you can find a dealer that lets you hand select the pieces that you're buying. Some dealers won't do that. They just kind of have pre-sorted bags of a certain dollar amount, and then boom, they give those to you or they sell those to you like that. And I will say, when you go in and buy this stuff, right, you're buying it by the face value generally. So if you go into a store and you say, I want to buy junk silver, and the dealer says, well, how much face value are you looking for? And that might confuse you, right? You're not understanding the question. Well, all of this stuff, because it was money, and technically it still is, you could go and spend this stuff if you really wanted to. I would highly recommend not spending it as just money. You can see right here at the bottom of these half dollars, it literally says half dollar because they're worth 50 cents a piece. So when you go into a store and you say, I want $1 face value of junk silver, this is an example of what you would be talking about. $1 total, 2 half dollars equals $1. So you would buy it that way. And that can be in any combination too. So for instance, let's see, 2 quarters and 1 half dollar. Well, that's $1, right? Mathematically, I just did it. It's magic. If you had 10 dimes, right? 10 dimes all together, that's $1 face value of dimes. Bada bang. Right? I'm good at math. I know what you're thinking. But that is how you buy it. And generally, the store owner will say, okay, well, our junk silver, I'm just throwing a number out there. These numbers are subject to change depending on the spot price of silver and kind of the demand of silver. But let's say he says, hey, I'm selling $1 face value of junk silver at $20 each. So for every $20 you were to give that shop owner, you can get $1 face value of junk silver. And that's how you buy it. Of course, there's negotiating that you can involve yourself in if you want to, if the shop owner allows it, but that is generally the way to do it. And right now, with the price of silver being close to a $30 mark, silver spot price, you're talking your dimes right now are worth $2.12 each for dimes. And you're talking your quarters are worth about $5.30 each. And your half dollars are worth about $10.60 each. And that is only the spot price. There's a premium that goes beyond that usually when you buy, and sometimes when you sell, you can get some premium back. Whereas your nickels, so I said the little tiny dimes, again, 90% silver right here. These dimes, silver value, are worth about $2.12. Your nickels, only $1.60. And now some of the problems, we're going to kind of talk back a little bit about the things that I said that I wouldn't talk much about, is your 35% nickels and your 40% half dollars. When you buy these, a lot of times the shop owner will sell them to you under spot. And when you go to sell them back, you end up selling them well under spot. So they don't buy or they don't sell as well as the 90% typically does. Doesn't mean they don't have some uses, doesn't mean it's not a great product. It still can be okay. I personally like to focus on the 90% silver. Okay, so you're going into the store, you've learned how to buy these things. You've kind of learned how to sell, right? Because when you sell, you're going to say, I have $10 face value of junk silver. And then you're going to sell it based on, how much dollar face value you have. Some things to consider is that the price of silver kind of goes up, starts to skyrocket. The shop owners may end up reducing the amount that they're going to offer you based on the type of coin. So if you look right here, I have some what is called Walking Liberty half dollars. This one has an X marked into it for whatever reason, and that's an example of what you may end up picking up if you're into a bin of junk silver, is you might pick up some that have graffiti on there and chop marks and all kinds of weird stuff. But these are Walking Liberty half dollars, and then newer than those are your Franklin half dollars right here, and then newer yet than those would be your Kennedy half dollars. 1964 was the only year for the 90% Kennedy half dollar, and depending on which type you have, they might have been in circulation longer. For instance, you can see the date right here is 1943 on these half dollars, and they started producing these in 1916, so a long time ago. Whereas this coin right here, 1962, and then earlier yet, again, 1964, or should I say later yet. So they were basically in circulation for different amounts of times, just basically because they were around longer. So if silver starts to go very high and you have junk silver, you might end up getting less for certain coins based on just some typical circulation. They might end up start weighing the coins that you have. And so each one of these half dollars should weigh the same amount. They should weigh 12.5 grams each. So I brought my scale out and I put it to grams, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the 90% Kennedy half dollar, which should be close to 12.5 grams because it hasn't been worn out, it hasn't really been circulated very long at all. So 12.4, that's an acceptable range, and that's decent enough. I would make sure that you are buying from reputable sources, because there actually are counterfeit coins out there, and they come in all different shapes and sizes. There are actually even counterfeit dimes, believe it or not. So make sure you're buying from reputable sources and learn how to identify fakes. I have plenty of videos on my channel that can help you to learn how to quickly and easily and cheaply identify counterfeit coins. All right, so anyways, close to 12.5 grams. And then I'm going to go ahead and put one of these Walking Liberty half dollars on the scale. This is 1920, so it's been circulating for quite a while. 11.8 grams. So again, that should have been closer to the 12.5. So that's, you know, starting to get kind of slicked down. And here is a barber coin, which is, you know, technically it's been around even longer than that. 11.8 as well. So very, very, you know, slicked down, these coins right here, potentially. And you can kind of see that I have $5 of face value of half dollars in my hand here. And I'm going to take the barbers next to it that have been circulating for much longer than these, and $5 face value, and put them next to it. And you can see it looks like I'm missing a couple coins. I'm not missing a couple coins, it's just these things have been worn down so much by time and use and circulation that truly some of the silver has disappeared naturally because of the loss of weight of these things. So if silver was to get to a high level, this could be a cause for concern. And which is why I always recommend try your best to buy the best coins possible, which may or may not be a good idea if you're trying to look for rarities, because sometimes these coins right here, these newer ones, won't have as many varieties and rarities in them as something like this set right here, the Walking Liberties, that has some key dates, 1916, 1921. You're paying the typical price for some of these coins, and you end up getting a 1938D, which is a key date coin, which is worth about $50 in this condition. You end up doing much better that way. So whereas you're paying by the face value, you know, regular amount for all the other coins, and you end up grabbing something like this, that can really, really change the value of the overall collection that you have here. All right, so let's put a group of these coins on there. We have $5 face value of Kennedy half dollars. We're going to put them on there. 124 grams-ish on there. And now we're going to put $5 face value of Walking Liberty half dollars. And we're going to reset the scale there. Okay, we're good. We got 119, so you can see how there's a reduction in weight. All right, and again, it's the same amount of coins. Both stacks total $5 face value. And here are the barber coinage, which has been in circulation even more than the other ones. 116.8. So you can see that the older coins that have been around longer could have some silver loss. So that might be a strategy for you when you're out there searching for this stuff, is to stay with something that has been in circulation much less. That was going to be your Roosevelt dimes right here. That's going to be your Washington quarters right here. And that's going to be your Kennedy half dollars, 1964, right here. And I would recommend staying with those. The one downside to these three pieces right here is that they have kept that design for quite a while beyond their 90% silver alloy counterparts. So, you know, Washington quarters were in this same design on the front for up until recently. They just, you know, just changed it to where Washington's face or head is much larger now. And same thing with the dimes. That has, you know, stayed the same for a long, long time. These Kennedy half dollar designs, they still make these even today, believe it or not. If you went to the bank, you could probably find these designs right here even today, although it wouldn't be the silver alloy. It'd be a clad alloy of copper nickel. That being said, let's talk about the banks, right? Some people, they do what's called bankroll hunting for these junk silver pieces, and they go to the banks and they say, hey, I'd like to have some half dollars, please. And they get half dollars in rolls, and they pay them cash for it. And it's, you know, paid, you know, dollar for dollar, basically. So $1 bill to 2 half dollars. So you don't really lose any money when you do that, because you're just paying dollar for dollar. And then they go and they look at the coins and see if they have silver coinage. If they do, well, now they've won, because now they're basically getting silver for free, just for literally the face value. So that's a great way to find this stuff. I've done that myself. It's still available at the banks, believe it or not. You can still go in there and do that. It is more difficult when you get to the quarters and the dimes and half dollars. Some people do it to those and find much more success for the half dollars. And in my opinion, it's easier to find half dollars that are silver than the quarters and dimes. There's also some other oddities out there that you can find. I've found 3-cent nickels when I was out there looking through junk piles, which are valuable beyond. They're more numismatic generally if they're in decent condition. I found these right here. This is actually seeded coinage. So seeded coinage starts to get to kind of like beyond just junk. Usually it has some numismatic value. So if you see these out there, always try to get them. And here is actually, not only is it a seeded coinage, this is actually a love token. So this is something that goes beyond numismatics, and it goes into kind of something special, more like art. And this is something that somebody would carve into the coin and give to a loved one. So this was an era when they were doing this to coins, and it was kind of common enough to where they have a terminology, love token. And so something to look for when you're out there. This is a piece that I found naturally while I was hunting for junk silver. I found that in a bin. You also might find proof coinage. So proof coinage has that mirror field to it, and those can be a little bit more valuable than your regular coinage. Also look for good condition coinage. I can't tell you how many times I've found something like this, although this is not a good example, but I've looked for Walking Liberty half dollars and found some that were actually in really, really nice condition, more numismatic or coin collectability, had a quality to it rather than just regular worn out junk silver. So definitely look for that stuff out there. This is an example of that. One of the first pieces I found when I was out there looking for junk silver was this coin right here. This is a 1928 San Francisco quarter, and this is a standing Liberty quarter. And this piece right here is so fantastic. And I found this, raw. When I say raw, I mean, just by itself like this. And I found this in a pile, and I grabbed it and I said, man, one day I want to have that coin graded, because I do believe that's a nice coin. And so here's an example of a coin that's, I don't know, $80, $90 today. And that's a great, coin that at the time I think I probably paid $3 for it. It might have been $2.50, $3, whatever the case may be. That is a big benefit. And here's another nice coin that I found. So a Mercury dime, and you can see that the Mercury dime is 1916, and it actually is pretty decent condition. It has full split bands in the middle there. And so these are all terminologies and things that you would look for if you knew a little bit more about the coins. And it would help you to have something like this here, the Red Book of Coins, which can describe a lot of these things and oddities and varieties in here. Although there are a lot more varieties than this book right here tends to tell you when it comes to coin collecting, it's definitely a good start. And for the most part, you'll find that this book right here will help you through some of the basics of coin collecting and junk silver collecting especially. So I definitely recommend getting one of these books. If you don't want to spend a lot of money, go to your local library or look online for an older version, and you can end up getting that for nice and cheap, and then you can save some money and still enjoy this hobby. Here's another example of a coin that you might find. There's all kinds of stuff out there, and it's a good idea to, if you see something odd, to look it up, to try to learn more about it, because you might find something special while you're out there hunting. A lot of people will take a book, and if I have a book right here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's a book of Mercury dimes, and people that might not know what coins are, they might take one of these books, these albums, and they might just empty it all when they go to sell. And for instance, if you had this coin right here, the 1916D, even in rough condition, that coin's worth a few $100s, like $700, $800, $900 in like kind of a rough condition. So I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of people that have found one of those 1916Ds searching for coins in different junk piles, junk bins they call them. So definitely know what you're looking for, and if you find something odd, definitely look it up. You probably have your phone with you, pop it out real quick and look the coins up. I would say, again, to try to steer yourself towards things like your your Roosevelt coinage, your Roosevelt dimes. Although the Mercury dime is easier to identify because any of these pieces right here, as long as they're not a counterfeit, are going to be 90% silver. I have before gotten Roosevelt dimes like these right here, looking for junk silver and got them in rolls, and then later went and looked through the roll and found out that some of the dimes were actually modern. They weren't, a silver alloy. So you got to be careful there too. But it's definitely a fun thing to do, is buying junk silver and then looking through it. That's one of my favorite things because you can find some oddities, some rarities, and add to the value of what you're getting into. But also, it is the best thing possible for you to stack. It is all fractional. So if I have two $half and I had 1, 2, 3, 4 dimes, right? So $1.40. $1.40 in different combinations, depending on how you want to do it, in quarters, dimes, or $half of 90% silver will equal to approximately 1 ounce of actual silver weight. So again, some of these are worn down, so you got to consider that. But if in a perfect world, if all these coins were in flawless condition, that's approximately the silver weight that it would be as 1 ounce out of $1.40 face value. So you think that way when it comes to a situation where there's a collapse, right, an economic collapse, and when we start to rebuild and we start to go back to bare basics and we start to have it to where things are money instead of cash, because cash, inflation may end up just going through the roof, and our society could collapse and we have to restart somewhere. And so something basic like what has been money for thousands of years, silver and gold, could once again be money. You could easily divide what you need to get by through junk silver. The fractionality of it makes it just so simple. But there you go. There's some basics for you right there. Where can you buy this? Anywhere that sells silver, just about. Coin shops, pawn shops, bullion shops. If you type in junk silver for sale online, you'll get all kinds of places there. Walmart Marketplace sells it. Amazon sells it. I mean, it's all over the place. It's a very, very well-known thing. Other countries, too, have their own version of what you would call junk silver, which is in different percentages. Mexico has percentages all over the place, 90%, 72%. They have a 10% pieces. They're all over the place. Canada has 80% pieces. Other countries out there, it's all over the place. So everybody has their own version of it. I mainly stick to United States junk silver. It's just easy to get. There's a lot of it made, and there's some real rarities out there that can really, benefit you. But yeah, you can find it everywhere, and you can sell it just about everywhere too. You're never gonna have a hard time selling junk silver. It's a very, very well-known thing in the hobby or the lifestyle of collecting and stacking precious metals. Everybody knows the terms. Nobody's confused by it. Some people are offended by it, but again, your silver will never get mad no matter what you call it. Even if you call it the meanest name in the world, this silver is not going to be mad. She's just gonna love you just the same. And I hope you love it just the same. Hope you love junk silver like I do. Feel free to get some of this stuff, and I highly recommend it. I made videos, years ago, many years ago, talking about how I think that junk silver is the best silver you can buy, and I still stand by that today after all this time. It is by far the best, easiest to collect, and by the way, you can get some tubes like this. These are available anywhere that has numismatics or coins for sale. You can buy these little tubes, and they have some that perfectly fit your dimes, your quarters, your $half. They have clear ones. They have all different kinds, and they're great. I highly recommend getting some of those tubes, especially if you get a lot of junk silver, and sort them as I do. I have my barbers sorted from my walkers. I have it all sorted out differently, and do it however you want to do it. It's your collection. Enjoy it. I would also recommend, as you look through some of this stuff, it has some like blackness to it, right? And that is just tarnish. That's just toning that happens naturally to the coins when silver and copper get exposed to certain elements, mainly sulfur. You have what happens to the coins right here, which is just a natural toning process. And it's not dirt, it's not grime, although grime and dirt could be on these. That particular stuff is just toning, and that's just a natural process. Now, these coins have been circulated. They have had, who knows how many people touch these coins. Silver is also antimicrobial, so you don't have to worry about the microbes being on there and causing the bubonic plague. Silver would kill that off and stop that from even being able to go crazy on those pieces just because of its antimicrobial properties. Copper as well. So that's a benefit. You never have to clean these. I would highly recommend not cleaning these. There's always going to be more buyers for a non-clean coin than there are a clean coin. Just consider that. If you are cleaning these coins, you are doing it for your own personal satisfaction and if nobody else is out there. Just be aware of that. Keep them dirty, keep them looking just the way they are. There's actually stories out there on the internet. You can probably read it for yourself. Some lady found a dime that was dug down in the dirt somewhere and started like, hey, I gotta clean this off. So she started like, brushing it off. And as she was brushing hundreds of dollars away each and every stroke. So better just to leave them dirty and sell them as is. And if somebody else wants to clean them, let that be on them. Don't let it be on you. Your collection will be more valuable if you don't clean. I gotta go for now. I appreciate you for watching. Hopefully this back to basics video helped you out. There's a lot to learn out there, and I highly recommend just getting involved in it a little bit, and you will find you'll learn some things for yourself as you start to purchase this stuff, and I think that you're going to fall in love with it. I got to go. Spegtacular is out.
Well, hello everybody. I seek to educate and entertain through my journey of collecting coins and stacking precious metals. I encourage you to subscribe, and please stay with me on this journey. I am Spegtacular, the Silver Stacular.
When I was a kid, we did this every day in school, and I believe we need to bring this back a little bit, and I'm going to start right now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.